Yo, what's up? So by the end of this video, you're gonna have better drums on your tracks, I promise, straight up, because everything we're gonna be talking about can be translated to anything you make drums on. Now, this video got inspired by Pacific Coliseum with their track Ocean City, link to it down below, but the drums on this track, which we'll hear in a sec, are insanely good and deceivingly simple. So I'm gonna recreate the drums with some notes that I've taken about the drums, and then I'm gonna redo it on the Digitakt II, and we're gonna talk about the nuance that makes them special. All right, let's dive in. So here's the track, and listen to the drums specifically. Right? There's a lot there. Now, I'm not monetizing this video just so we can listen to these drums together, but if you do want to support the channel, I do sell shirts and sounds and hats like this at this link here, or check the link down in the description below. So let's start putting these drums together. I have my notes. Of course, first is going to be our 4 on the floor kick. Now the drums aren't going to be the exact same sound, but you'll get the idea. Now, one thing that really caught my attention about these drums was just this simple 8th hi-hat. Right? And if we were to just put this in here, this is fine. But we need to start adding velocity, right? Which is like the soul and the character of our drums. So I want this to kind of emphasize the up hats, which are here, because this lines up with our kicks. So to emphasize these, I'm gonna bring these lower. So I'm just gonna press all 4 of these, lower their velocity. And if we were to mute our kick, you can kind of already hear that it's a little quieter, right? If we make it really drastic. Listen to that, there's already swing on there, right? And speaking of swing, we're at 56, that's good. Oh, that almost makes it sound like there's compression. And you know what, I bet there's probably compression. There isn't. All right, we'll get to the compressor at the end. That'll really glue everything together. Okay, so for the next part, you can see that we have the 8th hat, sure, that's fine, we just got that going. But then there's a 16th hat on the last bar of 2 bars with velocity on every other. So we're gonna go ahead and duplicate this to 32 bars. And what we're emphasizing right now is just the movement and the feeling of when a drummer is playing drums. We want to get out of the rigidness, but what's great is we can stick with rigid sequencing, but movement when it comes to our velocity. And there's so many different ways that we can play with velocity. So check out this pattern here. Listen to this. Right? There's like movement there. Right? There's so much movement here. So this is another thing that kind of inspired this whole thing. So let's go ahead and add those extra hi-hats, which are these, the 16th on the 2nd bar of 2. We have our 2 bars here. And on track 5, I have another hi-hat sound, and it's just a 16th. So we'll set this to 32 steps. Here it is. Right? And you can hear there's a little bit of swing. And same thing, I'm gonna take these 4 and lower their velocity. And I'm gonna just copy that, paste it here. Actually, you know what, we'll do it here. And shorten that up a bit. And we can even take these a little quieter to give you a little bit more swing. Oh, that's it. Now, there's an open hat on step 15, and this is just on the 2nd bar as well, if I'm not mistaken. We have our open hat here, but we need a better one. One sec. Yeah, this one's fine. Now, that's on step 15, but of course that's gonna be on the 32nd step, so here. Wait a minute. I don't know if that's it, actually. I think it might be, let's see, it's right here. It comes a little early. Oh, you know what? It is on step 15, but what's happening is the 32nd hi-hat gets cut out. So we're gonna go ahead and put that there, leave it there actually. And then on track 5, we're gonna take these last 2 out. So we have this. That's fine. And then this also needs to be pitched down a little softer in the volume. And then we're gonna send it to the reverb. A little less. Okay, sweet. Now we're gonna add some loose claps. This part's gonna be really fun because you're gonna need a couple tracks to do this. to kind of give it a looser feel, but you can kind of bounce these down eventually. So just for starters, I have this track here. I'm gonna copy it onto track 13. And then, you know what, I'm gonna copy it onto 14, 15, and 16. That's fine. And I'm only gonna play with one bar for these. And we're just gonna put it in here. That's fine. Now track 14, we're gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna push them a little early. And then I'm gonna move their velocity around as well. So lower the velocity on both of them and then on just this one. Now check this out. I'm just gonna copy that sequence, go to track 15, paste it, pitch it up, and of course unmute it. No, it isn't muted. There's some other settings on here, which kind of help, to be honest, but it's in our amp. Clear this, clear this, clear this, clear this, clear this, clear this. Track 14, give me your source page, track 15. Paste it here. Now we're gonna pitch it up. Maybe a little bit of reverb. And then I'm gonna push these a little later. And then this one, even later. Now let's bring them all in. Now, we need to introduce a little bit more movement because this is clearly just one bar repeating. The way we can do this, since every track is set to per pattern, I'm just gonna set up one track to be, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna set this up to be 32 steps, but then on the second bar, we're actually gonna make it 24 steps. So then it's gonna be like this weird little 3-bar thing that's kind of happening, throwing the rest of them off. Oh, right, and then we need to make sure our reset is pretty high up. So we'll just set this to 128, which is 8 bars. Then we're gonna do the same, track 16. And I'm gonna just play this one in using the velocity, so. Why? I just love that pattern, so I keep doing it on accident, but this is fine. We'll just copy this, paste it here, and then pitch it down a lot. Lower the volume on it a lot. And then turn up this, which is our high pass, a little reverb. And then we need to shorten this up too. And then same with track 13, track 14. All right, so one thing I'm hearing is that track 3, which is our closed hi-hat, it's kind of boring, right? There's not too much movement going on, but we're gonna do something to kind of introduce a bit more movement to it. And I'm gonna go ahead and mute everything except track 3. Now that we're on track 3, we're gonna set our LFO to source start. So essentially, what I wanna do is slowly have our LFO move this around, but kind of randomly. So turning this up, if we go really drastic, you can hear that it starts kind of moving it around, right? And if I set this to ×4 and then 35, just kind of random, and then make it a little less drastic, that's fine. And I can even give it a little bit of attack, make it a little softer, bringing it a little late. Yeah, this is cool. Our amp volume, and actually, you know what? We're gonna go into our mixer here and just bring down these claps. I like the deeper clap. And same thing, on track 5, we need this to have a little bit more movement as well. I'm gonna just say, yeah, we're gonna bring these down even further. That's cool. A little quieter. And now let's mess around with the compressor. Well, actually, you know what, before we jump into that, there's another part in the track that I think is really dope, which is here around the end, there's some bongos. And I can bring that in with this. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, get moving on pretty fast. Bongos, and then pump in compressor. We got this, we could totally do this. Let's see, we'll set this up. Kind of Congo-y, huh? All right, let's try this. Let's see if we can play something in. Okay, cool, there's something there. All right, let's try this. That surprisingly worked. Cool, now on to 9. We're gonna set this up to grid, and we'll set this to 8. That's fine, this is fine. Linear locks, unmute that. All right, let's see. Yeah, we just need that bumping compressor. And also we're going real slow. All right, let's try this. And, oh, that kind of works. The bongos are a little off now. We'll slow it down just a bit, but now let's get the bumping compressor going. Oh my God. Okay, let me slam it real fast. So now you can hear how big this kick is. It's just way too big. You need this more staccato. Okay, this is fine. I want to save this, and then we're gonna pitch it down just a little bit. Yes, I think this is it. Let's try and throw some chords in here and just see what this sounds like. All right, this might work. Let's throw a little pre-roll in there, and we'll get this to 32 steps should work. All right, that's fine. Quantize that. Let's lower the filter. Let's open up the length. Oh, so we need to slow this down so it doesn't hit that last part real fast. Reverb, some chorus. Metronome off. Oh, we can get this to move on its own. We'll go to the multi-mode filter, frequency. Yo, I appreciate you, my friend. Hopefully you learned something here. What I'm trying to get at is there are so many ways to just add ourself and some human movement to our drums, especially when sequenced on rigid step sequencers, right? Sure, we got swing, but we really need to just emphasize the velocity, the movement, even just kind of moving some stuff around. Like if we really wanted to take this even further, we can take these hi-hats and kind of push them off, right? Listen to that. That is like super swung. Oh, that is real pretty. We're gonna copy that. We're gonna paste that over onto page 2. So that takes us out of the swing we already got. I think that this stuff is just so important. It's also so fascinating that something so simple can change the way a track feels. Maybe I'm getting a little too heady with it, but anyway, I appreciate you, my friend. Thanks so much for sticking by. And yeah, hopefully you learned something. Until next time, you already know the drill. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.